What's going on, guys? This isn't like the usual upload where I'm playing League of Legends or some other game, and I'll explain why. I want to get into telling more stories about myself. I feel like if I start telling more stories about myself, then whoever watches these videos can kind of get an idea of who I am as a person and maybe possibly even just get a laugh out of the situation. I feel like just people getting to know me more builds on the community and it lets people get to know me and learn about me better than most people would be able to. So what I'm hoping to do with this is over the course of me telling these stories, you not only can get a better understanding of who I am as a person, but you can also kind of share my memories with me, laugh a little bit, and just overall we can share this experience together. All right. Now, with that being said, I want to put a disclaimer. I will not be using real names, real locations, or anything like that. Everything that I tell in this story is 100% true. I wish I could make this up. I'm only so creative. So, everything I say in the story is true. It happened to me, and I'm telling you from firsthand experience and what I witnessed. And without any further ado, let's get into the story. So this story takes place in my senior year of high school. I was maybe 17 at the time. And I had government class. And in my government class, it's towards the middle of the year, so we're doing, big projects. And lo and behold, every time I get put in a group with people, it's with the stereotypical two dummies and one other smart person. And so, I'm not a super genius or anything, but I try to work with the smart person because, the lazy guys, the stupid guys aren't ever going to do anything. So for the sake of this video, we're going to call the smart guy E. So I pull E to the side during our government class and I tell him, you know that these other two guys, they aren't really going to do any of the work on the project, right? And he's like, oh yeah, I know. And so we make a plan like, okay, well, at the time I didn't have a computer. So I said, well, the problem is I'd only really be able to work on this at school because I don't have a computer and my phone, I have like a little dainty Android. It's not going to be good enough to type out full documents in the proper format or whatever, whatnot. And he goes, well, dude, remember we ride the bus, in the morning at the same time. And it didn't really dawn on me how close he lived next to me. He lives maybe less than 2 blocks away from me at the time at my mother's house. So I said, "Okay, cool. That sounds perfect. I can literally just go and walk over to your home after school and we can work on this project together." Okay. So with that being said, the next day, tell my mom, "Hey, I'm gonna go walk over to one of my classmates' house, and I'm gonna work on a project with them." It's a little late in the afternoon. I go over there, and we're working on the project. Everything's fine. His family's great. They have cats and whatnot, and they make dinner. And for dinner, they made chili dogs. That was really nice, and I genuinely enjoyed going over there. It was really nice and different because I didn't grow up with a PC, a personal computer. I only ever got into PCs after I finished high school. So when we would work on the project, it would kind of be a mixture of us working on the project and then us goofing off and like me watching them play CS:GO and just kind of being amazed at, having a PC because it was really fascinating and it was different than what I was used to seeing. So we got along really well. Even got to the point we started hanging out more at school. We started hanging out more at school and more communicative in class because we were getting to know each other and we were becoming really good friends. Now, I don't talk to this person today, and with that being said, this is the reason why. Fast forward to the day before the project is due. The day before the project is due, he messages me and says, "Hey, you want to come over and we can do some final touches on this project just to make sure it meets the guidelines and that everyone's name is on the project and that it's right." And I say, "Okay, yeah, sure, that sounds perfect." And like we usually do, uh, go to his house, work on the project, and that's it. So this is before dinner time. I would assume the time is around if I had to guess, 6 p.m. So in my head, I'm already mapping out. Oh, I kind of want to leave within the next hour or so because I want to go home, relax, kind of watch something, and then go to bed because it was the middle of the week, so school the next day. Um, I say, hey, I'm gonna go use your restroom real quick. Can you show me where it is? And he shows me where his bathroom is. Now his bathroom is clean, nothing wrong with his restroom, which is highly praisable. I praise people with high standards when it comes to their hygiene. Which is funny with this next part that I'm about to say. So he has a lot of cats, and I'm pretty sure I established that earlier when I, said something about his home. he has a lot of cats. And when I leave the restroom, his cat kind of, follows me around. I'm playing around with it because I like animals. I love cats. I love dogs. I love birds. I love animals, right? Nothing weird about that. And then as I'm walking, I, see the cat stops following me, and instead the cat starts to walk towards a bedroom door that is closed, and he starts, clawing at the door. And when cats do that, typically they want to go into the room, or they want to go outside, or they want to be in that area that they're, trying to get to, that they're messing with. That's why they do that, because they want to get in. So me thinking nothing of it, I go and I, open the door for the cat. Door in the hallway, looks like a bedroom door. So the cat slithers through the crack in the door, and I really wish I didn't look. But I open the door and I don't look inside because, privacy purposes at first. But then I open the door and I smell something, and it smells like animal pee, and then it kind of smells like poop. And I'm like, "Oh man, someone really needs to change that cat's litter box. This room just reeks of it." And then that's what prompted me to kind of crack the door open a little bit more, and it wasn't a litter box. This is probably the most disgusting thing to this day that I've ever seen. But I opened the bedroom door, and I kid you not, God strike me down if I'm lying, the bedroom itself was covered. And when I mean covered, I mean you couldn't take a step in that room without stepping in it, filled to the brim with cat poop. Not a couple of drops, not smeared. It looked like a military mind had purposely planted cat poop as like mines or something, like landmines in that room. It was just disgusting. And this is the main reason why I'm saying, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to use actual names, because if I did that, it would just be so criminal. It'd be criminal, and this person will never be able to live their life ever. But anyway, with that being said, after that, I was disgusted. Like my stomach was turned. It was just, I was just flabbergasted. And what was worse was I had to finish the project and pretend like I didn't just witness a psychological horror that had been inflicted upon my brain. So I go back to the room, and we work on the project. And the whole time I'm just in my head, I'm like, I never want to come here again. This is disgusting. I don't know how people can live like that. So we finished the project, and they offer they offer me dinner, and I was like, oh, no, 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 my mom cooked at home. It's okay. I'm gonna go home and eat dinner. My mom didn't cook dinner, but I'm never eating at a home ever if I know the conditions of the home are like that. That's disgusting, right? So long story short, we finished that project, uh, presented it, got an A+ on it, because it's not a hard project to do. And sadly, I never really talked to that friend again. Me and Mr. E, we just didn't I didn't talk to him after that. And it's not quite his fault. I'm pretty sure that his parents had some forms of, you know, disability or something like that. I think his dad was some form of veteran that couldn't really maneuver around the house as well. But with that being said, um there are levels to being, messy or dirty, even, or cluttery, if you want to call it. I work as a caregiver, and I go to clients' homes. Some clients, they can't move around, so their house has a bunch of clothes everywhere. The shoes are all sprawled out. Their dressers and their cabinets are all disorganized and whatever whatnot. That's messy because you can't really get to it. But with no exaggeration, the Z tier, the alpha tier of disgusting, to the point to where it's just, what are we doing, is having a bedroom filled to the brim with cat poop. And I have no clue how they lived like that, but that's the story behind that. It's truly disgusting, and this is a story that I wanted to share for a long time. So that's just something that I had to get off of my mind. I'm glad to share that story with you guys. If you guys want more stuff like this, just comment below or message. And I'm out. Thank you guys again.